We should be live in a second. All right, there's nothing more fun than hanging out with both Cheryl and Toni, and this is going to be one of those incredible episodes. And so, Toni, so I don't, quote-unquote, bore them with the long resume and who are you. They're going to go to your website. They're going to read all about you. Take a moment, if you will. Cheryl, we'll start with Cheryl. Take a moment, if you will, Cheryl, and give us the backstory. Give me the backstory. Like, who is Cheryl? That's all I need. What journey have you been on, and what are you up to today?
Okay. Hello, everybody. It's so awesome to be here. Thank you so much, Shay, for having me. I'm glad to be here with Toni. And we're going to talk about some really fun stuff later about going from invisible to an iconic global brand. But my journey, I started as a life coach. But if I go back a little bit more, I came out of the corporate world. I spent 22 years in corporate America doing my thing in human resources. Then we moved to Florida. I decided I wanted to go into business. I became a life coach. So I became a certified life coach first. And I didn't do anything with it for a year because I was trying to figure out what that was really about. Well, then the journey just kept going. And eventually I started branding myself, and I just loved the strategy. It was effective. It worked. It was a thing I could really get behind. So that's what I did. I said, I want to do this. So I learned every possible thing I could to start to use it with my clients. So I shifted from being a life coach to being a brand strategist. And up until this point, it has been amazing. Mm-hmm. I've worked with some incredible women, and it's really allowed me to experience and do some incredible things that I probably wouldn't have done had I been in the corporate world.
Wow. Well, it's always interesting. Thanks a lot for sharing. Toni, I know you're sitting there. You got a big smile on your face. There's folks tuning in. They're watching now. And they're like, well, who in the LL Cool J is that person on the other side? And that is Toni Coleman Brown, by the way, all the way from New Jersey. And I believe Cheryl is down in Florida. Is that right, Cheryl?
Yes, I am.
I got it right. Okay, she's down in Florida kind of hanging out. Toni, before we get started, kick it off. Tell us, who is Toni, by the way? What journey have you been on? You heard the question just now. And at the end of the day, are you up to now?
Well, Shay, we go way back. We're both Browns, but we're not married, and we're not sisters and brothers. How about that? But we do go way back. I got my start in the network marketing industry, and I have to tell you, it's been a long journey. But, back in 2012, I decided to hang up my network marketing hat for a minute, and I decided to launch the Network for Women in Business. And basically what we do at the Network for Women in Business is we educate to elevate women entrepreneurs. And you're going to find out a little bit more about all of that, but I'm excited to be here tonight to talk about how to keep your pipeline filled with leads, because I'm all about helping people learn how to build and create their own digital assets, and so that they're not building just Facebook and all of these other social media platforms, but they're actually building their own digital assets with their own leads. So we're excited about that, and I'm excited to jump into all of that great stuff tonight.
Well, I'm super excited this morning, this evening, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are in the world, you're at the right place with the right folks. I'm not going to ask what's the big why. What's up, June Klein, my good friend out there in Phoenix? Well, she's actually in Atlanta right now. Ann Brown down in Florida. What's going on? What's happening? Kat, Cheryl, Diane, not Cheryl A. Pullins is watching. So many folks are joining in right now. It's always a pleasure. Look, Toni, I'm not going to ask you that big why question, right? Why do you do what you do? I'm sure you got some good reasons. But tell us, what's the mission? What is like your personal mission? What do you look to accomplish over the next 10 years? What's so important to you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question. My mission over the next 10 years is actually to positively impact 10 million people over the next 10 years. That's my mission in life. And basically, I believe that we're like elevators. We either lift people up or pull people down. We never leave them the same. And my ultimate goal is to never leave people the same. If they're in my space, I want to positively impact them. Much like you say, Brown.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege. Hey, Cheryl, I got to get going, but I don't want to leave you out. I want you to be able to talk about what your mission is. I know we'll be talking about branding, which is such a Such a big word. I really hope you're gonna break that thing down, because brand. What is a brand? What is a
I'll
brand?
make it real simple.
But what is your mission? What's your purpose? Why do you do what you do?
The true mission behind why I do everything that I do is really to help women. I work with women, so to help women entrepreneurs, or women in general. It doesn't have to be an entrepreneur, but women realize and operate from their fullest potential.
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to it. What's up, Matthew Horn? I know you'll be here on Thursday. I see you out there. Cynthia Green is in the house, and it's always a pleasure. Sakoni Prince, my man down in Mobile, Alabama. I love your thought of the week, man. You're always rocking. With that being said, we got to get going, ladies. In 5, 4, to give me the countdown. 3, 2. It's going to be showtime. It's time to rock and roll. I can't wait. Here we go. Well. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country, where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with the resources necessary for you to execute that vision that you have, that big, big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I get it. Many of you like Tanya. Many of you like Bertha. What's up, Bertha? Germany. Many of you like Ursula. Many of you out there, you really have 3 visions. And tonight, this morning, this afternoon, Toni, Coleman Brown, or Cheryl A. Pullins are going to help you with that. But some of you have a mission. I think the first vision you really have is the vision for yourself. How you want to live, the clothes you want to wear, how you want to look, your personal trainer, your personal chef, whatever the way you vision yourself living, you have a vision. And it takes resources, typically revenue. It takes resources, that means money. And I understand that. And some of you have a vision for your loved ones. We were talking about that just before the show started. I mean, those are the ones you want to send to a school of your choice. Those are the ones that you write a check for their health care. Those are the ones that you write a check for their mortgage. I mean, people you love, you care, your community. And then some of you, it still takes resources. That's revenue. It still takes money. But some of you have a vision for the people you were called to serve. And it takes resources. And so we're going to help you with that this evening. So we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to get started because we've got a fantastic episode. And I'll let Toni Coleman Brown start off for a moment and tell us, Toni, what can they expect from you this evening? Break it down. We're officially started now, by the way. So kind of share with them what they can expect from you. What are you going to be talking about?
Well, tonight I'm going to be talking all about lead generation. So basically what you can expect to get from me is just some information as it relates to what you can do to start generating leads for your business now. I'm also going to be talking about what are some of the tools that you can use to generate leads for your business, why you should generate leads, why you should have a lead generation strategy, and why it's important to you, why you should be doing it now, why you should be generating leads every day. So we're going to be talking about leads, and more leads. How about that?
Oh, I love it. I love it. One of our value statements here, and for those folks that are watching for the very first time, watch it. So many folks, we believe that the results that show up in your life are just as important as the results that show up in your bank account. So sometimes we're focused just on your life, but we're also focused on your bank account. So tonight, Toni's going to focus about helping you get some money in your bank account. Someone look below the video and say, ching, ching, baby, ching, ching. and I realize that money is not everything, but cash flow solves so many problems for so many of us, including myself. So we're going to have a ball. Cheryl A. Pullins, before we get started, and we're live now, obviously, what can they expect from you? What are you going to be sharing with them that make this a good use of their time?
Awesome, Shay. Well, I'm going to be sharing about why personal branding is so important, how effective it is. I'm going to talk about that whole thing of going from invisible to an iconic global brand. I'm going to I'm going to bust up some myths about branding. So, we're gonna break up some ground and then we're going to build it back up.
Well, I can't wait because I can't wait. All the myths I hear about branding. I mean, I have an iPhone and I have an Android. Right? I got both of them, and maybe you'll tell me the difference because I know that I'm an iPhone snob. I'm an Apple snob, okay? But I have an Android Note 10 because it takes better pictures. So Android to me is a better phone, but Apple is a better brand. I hope you break that thing down for them, brother, because I can't wait. Toni, we all need leads. We have more qualified leads. We'll close more deals. So Melissa Lambert is out there. Daryl Mack is out there. LaVonda Hawkins is watching. Monica Nettles, thanks for joining. It's always a pleasure. You're in for a treat. All right, let's start off first, if I can, ladies, with one of our core beliefs. And one of our core beliefs is today is my January 1st. In fact, if you're watching right now, look right below the video and put today is my January 1st. I get a start. Today is my January 1st. I get a do-over. Today is my January 1st. I'm going to improve my business. I'm going to improve my health. I'm going to improve my brand. I get a new start. And so January 1st are many moments throughout the day, Toni and Cheryl. It's that moment where you make a decision. Some of y'all had it earlier today. And when you make that decision, it changes the trajectory of your life. You either go to the gym, and some of y'all made those resolutions, or you sit at home on the couch and watch TV. You either eat a hamburger and french fries, or you go to your refrigerator and get carrots and broccoli and celery. That don't even sound good, but that's what you do. That's your January 1 moment. So someone do me a favor. Look right below the video and put today is my January 1st. Toni, kick us off. Talk about the importance of today is my January 1st. Frame that conversation. And then tell us, what was your January 1st moment where you decided, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to help women and a few good men tonight really improve their business.
Well, today is my January 1st. And I have to tell you that the moment that I really decided to take my business seriously and do something with it was probably back in 2010. And it was the moment when my mom passed away. And one of the things that she talked about was that she said it doesn't really make sense to really chase a dollar because we're all really kind of going to the same place. But one of the things that she did instill in me was the fact that, you know what? Do what you do and do what you do best, which is provide value. And one of the things that I learned is that when you are 100% authentic and you're providing value out here in the marketplace, you will be rewarded greatly because when you help other people get what you want, you will get. When you help other people get what they want, you will get what you want. That's what I should say. And my January 1st, I have to tell you, is all about continuous learning. And, you know, we kicked off this year and I've kicked off my business recently with a couple of relaunches where I actually educated myself in a new type of way that has helped my business really and truly explode right now, Shay. And I have to tell you that oftentimes in business, you don't know what you don't know. Therefore, it's important for you to continuously learn so you can learn how to do things the right way. You see, you know, I spent a lot of time trying to reverse engineer processes, trying to figure things out on my own. But one of the things that I did that had made a turning point and a difference in my business that I know that can help your listeners out there is I decided to invest in myself and invest in my education and really learn how to run a membership site the right way. And therefore, one of the things that I can say that every day is a January 1st and every day is a new day for you to learn something new. So when you don't know what you don't know, you must stay in a state of continuous learning. And I would have to say that that has been the turning point for me in my business. And it's put my business on the right track. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm doing better now than I've ever done in my business before. And it's all because I've invested in my education.
Well, congratulations to you. Thanks a lot for sharing that. Thanks for being authentic. I guess the next question I have is, what were 3 things you did just to get started when you had your January 1 moment? What are 3 things you did just to get going?
Well, one of the things that I did was I remembered the importance of lead generation because Shay, you remember me from back in the day when I was running my own home business.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you remember that. And one of the things that I understood back then was that it was important for me to build my list and to generate leads. And one of the first things I did was I started that process, and I started that process through social media. I recognized the importance of it, but I also recognize the importance of once you build your following, you must push great content out in order for you to draw leads in. And I utilize social media platforms so that I can generate leads for my business. And one of the things that I wanted to do was once I launched the business, I wanted to get people to know, like, and trust me. So basically, I continued to push out great content, and I wanted to get them to know me really professionally from a belly to belly perspective. And I decided to host my first event. So right out the gate, I launched my first live event, my first small business boot camp for women. And, it's been an ongoing process ever since. So I would have to say that when people are first getting started, one of the first things that you want to do is you want to start list building right away. You want to start building that asset, because if you ever want to do product launches, if you ever want to really, let people know what's new and what's happening with your business, you always want to have, like your list together so that you can send out emails, so that you can keep in contact with your ideal customers, your VIP customers. So those are some of the things that I would say, let's build from the start, and you can't go wrong that way.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for sharing out there. So for those folks out there, today is your January 1st. You're going to learn that. Cheryl A. Pullins, you heard me ask the question. I just want to ask it to you. I know we're going to get some great content coming up very shortly. But do you mind taking a moment and talking about today is my January 1st and what that means, and what was your January 1st moment where you said, you know what? I've got to focus on this thing called branding. I've got to build this iconic brand, but more importantly, I got to teach other folks how to do it. We all want to know, what was your January 1st moment?
Yeah, so I love this idea about what's your January 1st, or today is your January 1st, because really every day is a new day for a fresh start. Every single day. Actually, you can have a fresh moment right in the middle of a day. So you can decide. I think it's all about making the decision to say, you know what, this path isn't working, and right here, right now, in this moment, I'm going to change that path. So now, today, at this moment, I'm sitting on the sofa when I know I should be over at the gym, walking the treadmill, or outside walking. And in that moment, you can decide, I'm going to get up, I'm turning off the television, I'm putting on my sneakers, and I'm going to go out and get some fresh air. So we have the power to do that any moment. So when I think about my January 1st as it relates to my business and talking about the power of building an iconic brand, it started 7 years ago. So I was 3 years into this business, and I realized the power of building a brand. And I was always enamored with the icons of the big screen, old Hollywood. So I've always been enamored by that. And we always hear about the icons in Hollywood and things like that. So that's kind of how I got started on this path and this conversation around being iconic. We hear that word a lot now, but I like to give it some context. I like to give it some meaning. I like to dispel the fact that people think it's about fame, but it's really not when you frame it in a certain way. So 7 years ago, I decided I'm going to talk about building an iconic brand. I'm going to talk about how to be an industry icon. I'm going to talk about how to show up and be an industry leader, how to show up and be a thought leader, how to use what's in your hand, what's in your heart, what's in your head to share with the world, to share with your tribe or your nation or who the people you're called to, so that they can get what they need, so they can reach their fullest potential, so they can become the highest version of who they've been called to be. So my January 1st in that regard started 7 years ago. And It's been pretty interesting.
Well, no, thanks so much for sharing. And take a moment if you could. What would you say to the person that's out there listening and they're like, okay, I'm gonna make that decision. You got Charlisa. What's up, Charlisa? She's out there. CF Jackson out in Atlanta. Thanks so much for joining. Michael Murner's out there. Mary Lou Mitchell. It's always a pleasure. Take a moment, if you would, Cheryl Pullins, and what would you say to the person that says, all right, I'm drawing a line in the sand. Today is my January 1st. As so many folks wrote earlier, and if you're watching on Apple TV, I know you can't do it. Amazon Fire TV, you can't do it. Don't send me any notes, all my Roku folks. I know, but you can still go over to Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, and you can still make your comments. You're still represented. But what would you say to the person that needs to be consistent? Like, what message would you give them that says, you know what, I'm going to make that decision, but we know that consistency is the key. How do you remain consistent, Cheryl? And what do you say to the person watching right now?
So funny you asked that question. I just had the conversation earlier. What helps me with consistency is I have to put things on my calendar. I just do. I don't care how small it is. It has to be on my calendar because it helps me with my consistency. And now in my office, I have up on my wall certain cues and visuals to help me be consistent. Like, tracking certain things that I'm doing, looking at my vision on a consistent basis. I can, look up from my desk and look over at the wall and be reminded of the vision I have. I think the consistency part requires constant inspiration. What inspires you to do what it is that you're doing? Because that's what's going to move you to get up and do it.
So true. Well, ladies and gentlemen, everyone that's watching out there, when we come back, we're going to be talking to none other than Toni Coleman Brown, and we'll have a conversation around how do you attract leads? How does that really work? She's going to share at least 3 ideas, I promise you. Is that right, Toni? You got at least 3 good ideas for him?
I think I might have more than that, but I'll have at least
some
3.
bonus stuff. So now she's going to be a bad mamma jamma. So I can do a little better than that. All right, well, we're going to find out when she come back exactly how many ideas she have to share with you step by step how you can generate leads. You don't want to miss that. And then Cheryl's going to talk about really that iconic brand. Like, it's one thing to go attract somebody to you, but how do you make sure? I mean, how do you have the right representation? How do you do that to make it easier with less effort? We're going to do that. Right now, we're going down to Raleigh, North Carolina, to the one and only, none other than Dr. Kenneth Thigpen. And she's going to be talking about manifestation over hesitation. I love it. We'll be back in just a moment. For everyone that's watching right now, hit the share button. When you hit the share button, and if you want to hit the watch button, you can hit the watch button. Cheryl's give me permission. Tony give me permission. You can pay this forward to your network, to your tribe, because we believe in the giver's economy. The person that outgives the competition out-earns the competition. So when you hit the share button, hit the share button right there. Now, if you can't hit the watch live button, I get it. If you listen to the podcast, don't worry. Take the link from the podcast and share that with somebody. And right now, write these words. Just write these words right now. It's time to build your brand and generate clients. It's time to build your brand and attract clients. I say and attract clients because that's what's going to happen tonight. We'll be back, or this morning. We'll be back, or this afternoon, whatever time it is for you. We'll be back in just a moment. Take it away, Dr. Kenneth Thigpen.
Hello, it's your girl, Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, also known as Dr. K, founder of Rise Women's Network. And Rise Women's Network is pleased to present to you, #Next Sister Up. I'm with you in the Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, and today is my January 1st. Here's your thought of the week: manifestation over hesitation. You see, hesitation is the highest form of self-sabotage. When I think of hesitation, I often think of double dutching. And when people would be turning the rope, you would have an individual who was waiting to jump in, and they would be doing this whole back and forth number of hesitating, of trying to think when the best time was to go in. You see, in that same hesitation is in life, where we become hesitant of the things that we're going to manifest because of fear or lack of confidence or lack of courage or the self-doubt or procrastination, or because we're over-analyzing things. You know what? It's time to manifest what it is that we want in our life, because whatever we focus on is what we will get to experience in life. So it's important that first that we are crystal clear on what it is that we want. We should be asking for what we desire with such precision that there's no question in regards to what we want. Next, we need to let go of these limiting beliefs. You see, these limiting beliefs are the things that are holding us back and holding us down. It's time to let them go. Next, we want to stay positive. Let's focus on the positive. So all this negative self-talk that we're telling ourselves, it's time to replace it with positive reframes. Next, we want to take action. And if you joined us last week, you would know that we talked about taking action. So no matter how small or how minuscule that step forward in the right direction might seem, it's important that you take action. And lastly, you want to be able to acknowledge and be grateful about the things that have already happened. Be grateful and acknowledge the things that you have already done to be able to manifest things in your life. And so I challenge you this week, stop hesitating, and it's time to manifest. So start thinking, start asking, start believing, start acting, and start receiving. It's your girl, Dr. K. Make it a great day.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country, where we're on a mission to empower, to inspire, and to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources you need necessary to execute that vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And so now we're going to have a conversation with the one and only Toni Coleman. And Toni Coleman's going to be talking about how to attract the right clients, how to get the right leads. And I guess, Toni, before you get started, I'm just curious, as entrepreneurs, that's like a duh-run moment, right? Why do you think most entrepreneurs really don't have a system and really don't focus their energy on trying to attract the right clients? Why is that?
You know, I have been scratching my head trying to figure that out for the longest time, because I think that people are so, so much in a rush to just, make a sale, make a sale, make a sale, that they don't realize that, if you nurture the sales that you already have, you probably have an opportunity to generate even more sales. They don't really understand the lifetime value of a customer, and they don't understand that, instead of, it costs more money to get a new customer than it does to get more money out of an existing customer. And I don't think that a lot of entrepreneurs understand that. And I find that people often go to networking events, they collect a lot of business cards, or they generate sales and they have a lot of order forms, but they don't have any of their leads or even their clients in any type of CRM system, which is a customer relationship management system, nor do they have their leads in any type of email service provider software. And I find that to be absolutely crazy. So I think it's like crazy when people are trying to contact, their customers or send out an email that they're, emailing people from a Gmail account and keeping their emails in an Excel spreadsheet. I find that to be absolutely crazy. And if there's one thing that I'm looking to just blow up in 2020 is this practice. I really want people to understand that it is important for them to maintain their digital asset, which is their list. You hear people say all the time that your money is in the list, that your money is in the list. Well, if you've really cultivated and managed your leads and your list in the right way, you really could build your own ATM system. So basically, whenever you want to launch a new product, you can send out an email and you can generate income. I mean, I've done it thousands of times over the past, 8-9 years since I've been in business. So I know for a fact that it works. I just wish that other people would really take it seriously. And I mean, and leads are everywhere. One of the things that we did at the Small Business Bootcamp for Women this year was we had a room, you've been to the boot camp. We had a room filled with about 100, almost 100 women in the room. And one of the things that we did was we did more experiential learning. So I asked them, I said, how many people believe that your ideal customer is right in this room? And everybody raised their hand. Yes, so I know somebody in this room could use what I have. And so I said, okay, so let's start a newsletter. And I had them create a nice little script about launching a newsletter and basically saying that, I'm starting a newsletter about XYZ, and the benefit of the newsletter will be XYZ. Do you think you could benefit from receiving this type of newsletter? And if the person said yes, get their name and email address. And I had them simply write it down on a notepad. And I had them take the time to walk out around the room and generate leads. And then I told them, and I said, okay, you have this little device right here. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go through your phone and you're going to send out that little script to all of those people that are on your phone in your address book, and you're going to write them down, and then you're going to put them in an email service provider. Well, I have to tell you that as a result of just doing something as simple as that, the testimonies came pouring out where people decided to create newsletters for their podcasts, to create newsletters for their products, and and so I was really excited about that, because guess what? Now with your newsletter, and I saw that even Gary Vaynerchuk is creating this big brand newsletter. It's like amazing. And with that, they're going to start building up their digital assets, their list. But a lot of people have leads in places that they don't even think about, or they can generate leads in places they don't even think about. They can generate leads through their Facebook Lives. They don't even think about that. Oftentimes when they get on Facebook Live, it's just all about, sometimes the sale, or just delivering the information, and not really about the call to action, sending them to a place where they can get a free gift in exchange for a name and an email address. A lot of people have webinars, and what they don't realize is that when people register for a webinar, that's a name and an email address. And they never take the time out to go back into Zoom or to go back into GoToWebinar or whatever system that they're using to export the names and email addresses and put them into an email service provider where they can begin to nurture them and convert them into customers and clients. So really and truly, leads are everywhere. They're everywhere. And I just think that people need to just kind of lean in a little bit and start extracting them. No. And it doesn't have to be that hard or difficult. Go ahead, Shay.
No, I love what you're saying. You're right on point. There's folks out there. What's up? My good friend Craig Talley and Jennifer Collar and Deborah Gardner out in Phoenix, Arizona. My good frat brother, I said, Craig Talley, who's watching. And so many folks are so tuned in because tonight's episode is very important. You have the entrepreneurs that are listening. And what do you say to the person saying, all right, I hear you, makes sense, and it makes sense, but I'm so busy. So now you want me to take on a whole nother process. You want me to slow down and then speed up. I've heard those before. What do you say to the person so busy in the business? Like, if I slow down, I'm going to lose traction on what I'm doing right now. So give us the 1, 2, 3 things they can do and answer that question. Like, what do you say to the person who says, I can't slow down, I can't stop, I'm too busy?
Well, you don't have to really slow down. It's just a few little things. I can tell you some of the things that they can do right now.
Good, talk to us.
If they have a website, right? If you have a website, one of the things that you want to do is put, a lead capture on your website. Put your best lead magnet that, it could be an ebook, it could be a guide, it could be a checklist. Put that on your website. You can use tools like Opt-in Monster, or you can use Lead Pages, where you can just add an opt-in right on your website, so that when people are just simply coming to your website, this is something that they'll see right away. You can add it as a pop-up. Or what you can do is, go into your website tools and find what are the top 10 pages that people are visiting on my website every day. Once you know what those top 10 pages are, then go ahead and add in an opt-in box on those top 10 pages, so that as long as your website is getting traffic, you might as well convert that traffic to a subscriber by having some information that it's something that they're going to need. You probably already have something lying around that you can convert into a lead magnet. You can take one of your old past webinars or master classes or even Facebook Lives that you've hosted and convert that into a lead magnet, and just simply place it on those high trafficked areas on your website. Look at your Facebook page. A lot of people aren't even using the little call to action button that's on your Facebook page. You can send people to a lead magnet from your call to action button right there on your Facebook fan page. You can use your email a signature area to generate leads. So if you're really busy, just place your lead magnet in all of those high traffic places, all of those places where eyes are, you getting eyeballs on the information, and put the information there so that you can begin to generate leads while you sleep. I mean, I have to tell you something, Shay. I generate leads every single day, and I'm not running ads to do it. And it's all because I have all of my opt-ins strategically placed on my high traffic areas and on my homepage of my websites. So these are things that are not difficult to do. They're very easy, and people should just, it's not, you don't even really have to slow down to implement these things. And if you're really busy, then pay somebody else to do it, or get a college intern to do it for free.
No, I love that. I love that. One of the things I want everyone to do that's out there right now, Danny says, this is really good. I need this. Eric Armstrong says, yes, this is perfect. For those folks out there right now, look right below the video, and write these words. Leads represent hope. No leads, no hope. And so many of you out there right now probably have set some goals, and I'm sure you set some resolutions, and I'm sure you have some great plan in place. And as an entrepreneur, I'm going to ask Toni her top 3 ways to generate leads. She gave a whole list for them. I'm going to say, Toni, what are your top 3 ways? She gave her a whole list of generating leads. But as you're writing leads represent hope, no leads, no hope, ask yourself the question, have I attracted the right type of people to me that have an interest, want, or desire to do for the problem that I solve? That's very important. Toni, what are your top 3 ways that you would suggest? Now, this is a loaded question, because some of you out there, some of you do products, some of you do services. Please don't send me no messages. Some of you have brick and mortars. I get it. Some of you are experts. So you're at different places, different spaces. I'm asking Toni what are her top 3 ways that she's doing it, and it may apply to some of you, or you may take some of the ideas she's already given. Toni, give us your top 3 ways of generating leads in today's time.
In today's time, one of the things that I would say is that, like I said at the top of, this show, that you want to push great content out to pull people in. So one of the ways I would say is blog. If you're blogging, writing articles, make sure that you incorporate in your articles a way that people can opt in for more information. So if you're blogging about a hot topic, create a lead magnet that centers around that hot topic that also solves a problem. You can also create your blogging article in a way that it leads up, like there's a formula. You could talk about the problem, you could give a solution, you could talk about another problem and you can give a solution, and then you can talk about another problem, but leave an open loop and allow your lead magnet to provide that solution so that they have to opt in to get that solution. So blogging would be one way, and I would have to say the other blogging, which I call podcasting. So to me, podcasting today is what blogging was yesterday. So if you're on a podcast, you can definitely podcast about a problem and then have your lead magnet serve as the solution for that problem. And then once you create your blog post, once you create your podcast, you can then push that stuff out through social media. Now, the 2 platforms that I really enjoy that a lot of people do not talk about today are Pinterest and YouTube. And I believe that you can create a podcast or you can create a YouTube video. You can create a YouTube video and strip the audio and turn that into a podcast, but you can promote all of that on Pinterest. And Pinterest and YouTube are 2 social media sites that I love because they're not only social media sites, but they're also search engines. So when you post content on Pinterest and YouTube, when people search and you use the right keywords, they tend to find your content. And it lives almost like a rerun out in television land. So therefore, you can post information on Pinterest and you can post it on YouTube, and people can still find it 3, 4, 5 years later if you have it, filled with the right keywords. So basically, every time you post something out there, if you're bringing somebody back to a podcast, if you're bringing somebody back to a blog post or article, or if you're sending somebody to a video on YouTube, you always want to have in the description, you always want to have it somewhere on the landing page for the blog post, or you want to have it as a snippet in your podcast. You want to send them somewhere where you can give them something for free, and you can capture a name and an email address as a result of that. So there are 101 different ways that you can definitely generate leads. But if I had to say the top three, those would be it. I may have said a little bit more than three, but those would be it. Yeah. Definitely.
So folks are wondering, before we bring up Cheryl, they're wondering, okay, what is Toni going to do for us? Does Toni have a free gift for us? Does Toni have something we can get? We get it as a lead magnet, but I know you didn't come empty-handed. It's impossible to come to the Happy Entrepreneur Show empty-handed. These folks expect to get something. So what did you bring? What are you going to give it to them? And how do they get it? The next minute, what do you have? How do they get it? So tell them right now.
Well, I have a free gift, and that free gift is 25 lead magnet ideas. And it is a free guide that will show you 25 different ideas that you can use to create a high value lead magnet that you can now use that to generate a name and an email address. So people want to know, what type of content should I create? Well, in this particular guide, I give you 25 different pieces of content that you can create to generate leads. Now, where you can pick that up, you can go to magicleadgeneration.com, magicleadgeneration.com, and you can pick up that free guide, and you can also get on the wait list for my new upcoming course called Magic Lead Generation, which I am just so excited about. This is going to be a mega course, and I'm just going to roll out pieces and components to it month after month, because there's so many different ways to generate leads. We're going to get part 1 in January. We're going to get part 2 in February. So this is going to be a course that's going to build upon itself, and I'm so excited about that.
Well, I'm super excited. Thanks so much for sharing. I know you're not going anywhere. You're going to be hanging out with us. Everyone go over to Magic. What's it called?
magicleadgeneration.com.
magicleadgeneration.com. Make sure you know how to generate those leads. Go get your free gift right now, because coming up in less than 2 minutes is none other than the one and only Cheryl A. Pullins. And she'll be talking about the importance of brand. And you think about you attracting leads. You think about you got a lead magnet. You think about you bringing people to you. Well, when they get to you, you want them to represent, what you are really all about. And I don't know what she's going to talk about branding. Isn't that such a broad word? So I hope she breaks that thing down so everyday people like me and you can understand what she's already said she's going to do, because today is your January 1st. You're going to get that brand right. You're going to get the system right. You're going to bring it in. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a moment. Go over to magicleadgeneration.com. Is that right? Did I get that right?
You did. You got
I got that right. That's because she's out there making sure you know where to go by it first. We're going to take it all the way over to my good friend, Rob Howes. This is one of my favorite. I mean, they're all my favorite. But Rob Howes will talk about be present where you are. And the next voice you're going to hear, you're going to learn how to make and create an iconic brand with Cheryl A. Pullins. We'll be back in just a moment. Take it away, Rob.
Hey guys,
All right.
me and Daddy are here.
All right, I'm doing a video.
I got a question.
No, it's not a question. This is a video where I'm telling people something. I'm telling them that today is their January 1st. Today is your January 1st, Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, because today is the only day you got. Because tomorrow's not promised and yesterday is gone. So the reason why today being your January 1st is significant, because it keeps you from procrastination. Procrastination is the destroyer of dreams. Yeah, it's the destroyer. It's the killer of dreams. So, take action. Be present where you're present. That's the real gift. Be present where you are present. That is the real gift. Today is your January 1st. Say today.
Today.
Say today is your January 1st.
Today is January 1st.
Say it loud.
Today is January 1st.
That's it. Don't forget it.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one, you heard it, business development and revenue focus. Isn't that what we focus on tonight? Revenue focus, late night show in the country where our mission is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with the resources necessary to execute that vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And Cheryl A. Pullins showed up for one reason and one reason only, and that's to help you create an iconic brand. So Cheryl, without being funny, because I'm not going to be funny, this whole branding thing, I was like, okay. But it's such a popular topic. I was like, okay, take a moment, if you would, just break down not what is a brand, but like, yeah, what do you mean when you say iconic brand, number one? And we understand why it's important, but you say iconic brand, break that thing down for us.
Yeah, so, being iconic really is about being memorable.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating something that is basically never really forgotten. So when we talk about being an iconic brand, we're talking about brands that transcend generations, that transcend, time periods, that you always think about Audrey Hepburn. I said earlier that I love the icons of Hollywood, and there are lots of them, but Audrey Hepburn just popped in my head at the moment. I mean, we're still talking about Audrey Hepburn. We're still doing her quotes about, Paris. We're still having, images of her with things that we're using. We're still talking about Coco Chanel. We're still talking about these icons. We're still talking about Dorothy Dandridge. We're still having this dialogue. So when you talk about building an iconic brand, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about having, or I should say, building something that has the ability to transcend time.
To transcend time. That is so important. And talk about right now, how do you go from a personal brand to an iconic brand? Break that down. If everyone out there is listening right now, you might be wondering, why is this so important? And for many of you, you want to attract a certain type of client. You got the tools that Toni talks about, but now they've got to see the brand a certain way. And I can't get out of a conversation when someone's saying, focus on your brand, focus on your marketing, focus on your automation, and focus on your sales. I don't know why they make sales late, because if they don't have any sales, they can't pay for branding. But I don't know why sales always comes last, but brand is always first. They're always like, you got to get the brand right. So Cheryl, give us like three. First, tell us, how do you go from a personal brand to an iconic brand, and then give us like 3 ideas to help strengthen our brand. Like, if we have one, what are 3 things we can do to strengthen the brand we have now in the eyes of those folks whose problems we're looking to solve?
Awesome. Well, going from a personal brand, so you're transforming really from an invisible brand. So this is a brand that you're not seen, you're not heard, you're not attracting the right people into your business. Like Toni talked about lead generation. Well, you have to have a way to attract those people so that they see you, so they hear you, so that what you're saying is resonating with them. So, taking your brand from invisible to this iconic, it's a journey. And first of all, it just starts with being who you are authentically. Being who you are. A misconception about branding is that you're creating something that's not authentic. And if you're taking that path, that's really not the path to go. You want to show up true and authentic to who you are, to your values, to what you believe, and what you can get behind. I teach and talk about branding because I know it works. It's something I can get behind. It's something I believe in. I can talk about it, preach about it, because I absolutely love it as a strategy. So it's authentic to me, right? So you want to be real and authentic to who you are. I always like to use Cardi B as an example because she is just who she is. I didn't know who she was because I don't watch the reality shows. So originally I didn't even know who she was. But what I noticed was she would get on, she would say what she was going to say, and that was that. She said it the way she said it, and look where it has landed her. Who would have thought she would show up in Pepsi commercials, as a result of that? It's that authenticity. Because here's the thing, authenticity, can't even say it right. Authenticity is attractive. When people can see themselves, a piece of themselves in you, that's an attraction. That's a connection. That's a place where it resonates. So being who you are. Oprah was successful. Why was Oprah successful? Because back in the 80s, when everybody else was doing the talk shows, she was the only one that would sit with people and literally cry. She would show her feelings. She would express emotion. She would be right there with them. So that authentic piece was something that made her stand out. So the next thing that a lot of people talk about, standing out. I like to talk about how to set yourself apart. How do you set yourself apart from everyone else? Standing out is fine, but how do you really set yourself apart in the minds of the people that you want to serve? How do you become top of mind? What is it that you do that's so unique and so different and so valuable that you bring that when certain things come up, you come to mind? So I always get these pictures when people encounter the word iconic, and it's been happening for years. They'll send me a picture and they'll say, I thought of you when I saw this. I thought of you when I saw this. There was some iconic perfume in a store somewhere. Someone snapped a picture and she sent it. She was like, you should have this, kind of thing, because I had established myself as someone that talked about being iconic. That is the message. That's the thing I use to set me apart from everybody else that's talking about branding. Everybody else is talking about branding. I'm talking about building an iconic brand. I'm talking about being memorable. I'm talking about being authentic. I'm talking about creating something that goes throughout time and generations. So the first thing is you want to be authentic, be yourself. The second thing is find out that thing that really sets you apart. And here's a little tip I'm going to give you. Typically, the very thing you try to hide about you is the very thing you should use to set yourself apart. Most people want to hide their quirks, the thing that really makes them different, because we have this need to want to be accepted. But what we don't understand is that allowing that quirk to come forth is a way to set ourselves apart and to attract the people that are really like us, that the message is going to resonate. So I worked in the corporate world for quite some time, and I did it in the 90s, actually in the mid 80s, in the 90s, I was in the corporate world. And of course, corporately, there were only certain colors. If you wanted to be taken serious, there were only certain colors. You wore black, you wore blue, you wore gray, you wore brown. I mean, that was the corporate uniform. You didn't wear a lot of jewelry. You didn't, wear a lot of rings. You didn't show up looking like this. Right? But when I became an entrepreneur, that was the one thing that I said I had to own that, because this is a part of who I am. And it started to naturally attract and resonate with the women that I wanted to reach. So there's that. And then the third thing is consistency. I can't stress consistency enough. You have to be consistent. I know a lot of us struggle with it. We struggle with consistency. We struggle with visibility. We struggle with those things, and they're so key and vital to creating an iconic brand. How are you going to be remembered or memorable if people don't see you? How are you going to be memorable if you haven't created anything that is set apart from everybody else? How are you going to be memorable if you're not showing up true and authentic to who you are with your own message, your own story, your own experiences, your own expertise? How are you going to do that? So you need to be authentic. You need to be You need to own your quirkiness and set yourself apart, and you have got to be consistent.
Wow, got to own your quirkiness. I mean, these are some golden nuggets. I love what you're saying. It sounds so simple, but it's so complicated to do. You know, what I heard was, I didn't hear anything about you got to have some fancy colors, and I didn't hear anything about some logo, and I didn't hear anything about some fancy tagline. What I heard was, how do you want people to think about your brand, or what do you want people to think about your brand? How do you want people to feel about your brand, and what do you want people to know about your brand, which is very, 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 very powerful. As an entrepreneur, is there the distinction between a personal brand and then the company brand? Because oftentimes we're first starting off, you know, we quote unquote are the brand. So what do you say to the happy entrepreneurs that are watching right now? They're like, you know, but this is who I am. But then I want this to be for my company. I mean, can they go down two separate paths at the same time when you're such a small startup, probably less than 10 folks, in some cases just 2 or 3 folks, and the 2 or 3 folks might be contractors. What do you say to that person that's watching now?
So I'm going to point them back to something that I usually start with whenever I work with anyone with their brand, and that's being very clear about your brand's vision. What's the vision that you have? You can start with your own personal vision, and then you can kind of veer off from there based on the vision that you have. You know, so if you have a vision to build a, you know, multi-million-dollar type of business that's more corporate or something to that effect, then you have to create a strategy that leads you down that path. But here's a tricky part about this, and we've seen this trend happening. And it started, I believe, personally, it started with, it might have started a little bit earlier, but Steve Jobs was one of the first corporate CEOs that we saw whose personal brand had a direct impact on the corporate brand. It's just fascinating to watch how much his personal brand, how he personally set the tone for the corporate brand. And it was all based on, we still see the effects of his brand today. When they have their annual, you know, when they're announcing all their new products and things like that, Tim Cook shows up in a black shirt and jeans. Who started that? You know, and that's what I'm talking about. When you're talking about an iconic brand, here, Steve Jobs has been gone for quite some time, but his impact, his legacy, his brand is still felt and resonates throughout the Apple organization to this day. So back to my point, the tricky part of this is, even though you might want to veer off and to create something corporate, that corporate entity, that business brand is birthed out of your very own core values, your very own personal values and what you believe. And then you just kind of build it out from there. You know, Oprah's a great example of that. You know, she is a personal brand. She started as a radio show, you know, on a radio show, but she eventually built a personal brand. She did a talk show, but then she wound up building a corporate empire. You know, so I think understanding your vision and where you want to go is going to determine what you build and how you build it.
No, I love it. I love it. And as you're sharing the iconic brands, we're coming down the home stretch. Take a moment, if you would. And did you bring a free gift? Did you give something away that they can take away over and beyond this conversation that we're having now? Certainly, we could spend a whole several days on just branding. But how can folks get something from you that they can take with them now?
Absolutely. So I am a big believer in understanding where you're going, what you need to do. So I created a checklist to help people know where to start. What should they focus on? And Shay made mention about that. I didn't come talking about colors and taglines and logos and things like that. And I don't talk about that initially because everything that I mentioned is the essence of what goes into creating that logo, creating that tagline, picking your colors. You don't just randomly pull colors out the air, and people don't like when I say it, but it's not about you and your favorite color. It's really about the message that you want to bring and how can you create visuals that's going to carry that message.
Wow.
That's why I don't talk about colors, initially. That's why I don't talk about a logo, because those are representatives of your brand. So you have to understand the essence of your brand and what it's about and the message you want to send before you even get there. So in the checklist, I guide you through the things that you should work on that have absolutely nothing to do with the visuals, because branding really is 80% strategy, 20% visuals. That's what I say. So you can go to invisible2iconic.com. That's invisible2iconic.com. Get a copy of your checklist, and then you'll hear from me, and I'll follow Toni's advice and nurture you and take care of you.
Well, I know Tony's over there smiling, saying, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Bring them on in, baby. Bring them on in." For all those folks that are watching out there, do me a favor. Look right below the video. And give a digital applause. Give a digital applause to the ladies tonight who poured out their heart and gave us the best information. Not information, but the tools that you need right now. Now, how do you give a digital applause? Well, you look below the video and put "Thank you" at Cheryl A. Pullins, or "Thank you" at Toni, Toni, Coleman Brown. After being married 20 years, she still got Coleman Brown in there. Toni Coleman Brown, by the way, who were joking a little earlier. And you say thank you, or we appreciate you, or you were wonderful, or you rocked, or shared joy. One idea you took away, because how many ideas do you need to change your life? Just one. Just one. And today is your January 1st, because you got one idea. And one good idea implemented is better than 1,000 ideas you know right now. Just one good idea. When we come back, we're going to go rapid fire. I'm going to ask them a couple of questions geared, centered around what they're doing and what their thoughts are, what their beliefs are in terms of what's going on in the market. How are things changing? And where do they see things 5 years from now? And what should your focus be right now in your business and in your life? I know you're curious. How do they balance their life? We're going to find out, because they're both entrepreneurs. They're just like you. They're in the field every day. They got their sleeves rolled up, and they're doing what they do well. We're going to take a moment. We're going to go over to Delano A. Johnson. And Delano A. Johnson's up in New York. So nice, they named it twice. And he says, "I refuse to live talented and broke." Well, you build your brand. You don't have to worry about that. You generate those leads. You don't have to worry about that. But let's go see what Delano A. Johnson has to say, and we'll be back in less than 2 minutes. You don't want to miss the next 7 minutes as we come down the home stretch. Delano A. Johnson, take it away.
I live in a city where there are more creative people per square mile than any other place on the planet. Question is, how many of them are successful? How many are just like I was, talented and broke? Being broke is more than just not having money. It's failure to turn opportunities into profitable businesses and relationships that last. My mother always said, people perish for lack of knowledge. A compass takes you in the direction of your destiny, but knowledge of obstacles and distractions will ensure you arrive safely. My mentor once said to me, if I had half your talent, I'd have 4 times my wealth. Since then, I made a promise to God. If He would help me unlock my earning potential, I would pay it forward and help others do the same. That's why I wrote this book, because God made us too talented to live our lives broke. And that includes you.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country, where we're on a mission. That is to empower, that is to inspire, and really that is to provide you with the resources you need. It takes resources, man. It takes resources to execute that big vision that's much bigger than you that you have. And so we have Toni Coleman Brown. We have Cheryl A. Pullins, both entrepreneurs. Both folks are out there, bad, brilliant, smart, intelligent, and they're here to give the best they have. And so in this segment, which is one of my favorite segments, of course, they're all my favorite segments, but this is really my favorite segment. It really is. Just a couple of questions. I'll start with Toni Coleman Brown. Toni, and this is rapid fire, Toni. That means you got a minute or less to answer. You know, less is better than a minute. But who's been a mentor for you along the way? And just mention the name if you want to. But what's one lesson? That's the most important part. What's one lesson you learned from your mentor, one of your mentors along this journey, that you would want to share with those folks that are listening right now?
Okay, so the person that I would have to say right now, as of late, is Stu McLaren. And Stu McLaren is the founder of Tribe. And basically, one of the lessons that I've learned from him is to always be providing your members the one thing that they need next in their business. So basically, you always want to stay one step ahead of where they are and always provide them with that one next thing. So you constantly want to be in the heads of your customers. What's that one next thing? So Stu McLaren, I would have to say. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Sharon. Certainly appreciate that. Cheryl A. Pullins, what do you say to the person that was listening to you earlier? A lot of great content. They're saying, okay, she's saying I got to be the iconic brand, but I'm too short, or I'm too tall, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny. Do I always got to be a certain way? And you talked about quirks earlier, so I guess my question is, what do you say to the person that says, I want to be the iconic brand, but do they have to see me?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, really, we have to get over ourselves. We have to get over ourselves because it's not about us. It's about the people that need what we have. And as long as we're hung up in our heads with our quirks and about how we look, and I have had clients tell me, well, I don't like the way my voice sounds. Well, don't listen. Just share and offer the knowledge and the expertise that you have. Don't make it about you. But you're probably going to have to do some work as well so you can move past that, because it is going to limit you. But you really have to move past that and not make it about you and say, you know what, there are people that need what I have, and if I don't get it to them, they're not going to get where they need to go.
Fantastic. And this question for both of you, we'll start with you, Toni Coleman Brown. Who's a good client for you? I mean, folks that are watching right now, that are listening, they may want to help you, and maybe they're thinking, well, I'm not even an entrepreneur, but does she work with new entrepreneurs? She work with entrepreneurs that are in business 5 or more years, they got to make so much money? That question always comes up. So take a moment and kind of share who your quote unquote ideal client is, and who they may want to refer to you that may be able to do business with you.
My ideal client is really a female entrepreneur who is just starting out. Oftentimes, they're also side hustlers, which means that they're still in corporate and trying to transition into their business full time. So they're not quite at that point where, they may have started generating income or they may not have started generating income, but they're definitely under 6 figures in their business. So female entrepreneurs just starting out. And a lot of them are network marketers and a lot of them are side hustlers.
Thank you so much. Cheryl, who's the ideal client for you? If someone wants to refer someone over to your business, or they're wondering, am I the one? Am I the one?
Right. So for me, it is the multi-passionate woman. This is the woman that she's most likely doing more than one thing, and she feeling like she might be all over the place, or she doesn't know how to nail that messaging, so she doesn't look like she's all over the place. So she could be a woman that has been in business for a while, but she wants to move into a new area, a new industry, or she wants to unveil a new expertise, or she wants to make some shifts and changes. So it could be her. It could be someone that is just starting out in their business, and they know that they need to build their brand. So, but one of the things that is a big part of my expertise is that woman that has multiple passions. So she is a speaker, a coach, and an author, and she might also run a daycare. So she has all of these things going on, but how do we create a brand around it so that people aren't looking going, okay, she looks like she's all over the place. Right. So I have kind of two types of ideal clients, and it's the woman that's just starting out, and it's also the woman that might want to rebrand herself for different reasons. And honestly, I work with a lot of direct sales and network marketing women, which is pretty interesting.
Got it. I asked for one, she gives me 2 and 3. Don't you just love it? But you were right on point, Cheryl. You really were. You were right on point. The question. I had to say that. I couldn't resist that. I couldn't resist it. Yeah, a little this, a little that, a little this, a little that. Hey, but in all seriousness, one of the questions is, what type of partners? I'll say this. Let me frame the conversation. Number of folks out there may be interested in partnering with both of you, and they might be curious, what's a characteristic you look for in someone that may want to be a power partner? They may have your customer. And so when you build these collaborations, my question to you, first you, Cheryl, then you, Toni Coleman Brown, my question is, what's one of the characteristics, a minute or less, but what's one of the characteristics you look for in a power partner that may want to do a collaboration with you in your business?
They have to be fun. I like to enjoy myself, and I don't want to be in a situation where I feel like I can't. So wanting to have fun, and also, I know you probably asked for one, but having
it's Cheryl A. Pullins, I gotta give it to you.
But having a servant's heart, really wanting to serve the people, that's a really big characteristic of mine.
All right, Toni Coleman Brown, what do you look for?
Well, I look for people that are experts in their area of expertise, and it has to be related to business, because people can partner with me in a variety of different ways. They can become speakers on any one of my platforms of events that I have. They can also come on the platform and become a speaker and host a webinar or a teleseminar. And they also, if they're a course creator, they can actually create a course that can go on our online training portal. So there are a variety of ways that people can contact me and partner with me. They just have to know what they know, and they have to be really good at what they know.
Sure. This is great. So many folks are tuned in by now. We got another 2 questions. And don't worry, I'll let them give you their contact information. So that's their cue. And then we'll come back and they'll give you their final thoughts. But the next 2 questions I really have is folks that are out there listening right now. We'll start with you, Toni, and then you, Cheryl A. Pullins. Toni Coleman Brown. Say their full name so y'all know to go find them on Facebook. Go find them on Instagram. Go find them on YouTube. So y'all go do that now.
Yeah.
But the question is, what's one of the good books, not the Bible, that's in a separate category, okay? But what's a book you read recently or a book that you're reading, and what's one idea that you'd want to share from that book with those folks that are listening right now? And I want to welcome Ebony Banks, who's out there. Jalon is still out there. Teresa Earl Brown, she's just a brilliant event planner, is out there. Cynthia Green is still hanging. There's so many folks that are tuned in right now and like, whoa, I'm there, I'm present. Talk to them.
Well, the book that I'm reading right now is the Abundance Book. Mm-hmm. And the Abundance Book is by John Randolph Price. And the one thing that I can say about that book, I'm doing the 40-day prosperity plan in the Abundance Book. Mm-hmm. And if I could leave your listeners with this, it is that I know that the source of my abundance comes from the higher power, and the higher power resides within me. And when I rely on the higher power, it provides for me everything that I need to generate abundance in my life. And that's what, I want your listeners to understand, that, all abundance comes from one source, and that source lies within all of us. And when we contemplate and we focus on that source, which is God, all ideas come and all ideas flow, and your real money-making ideas will flow to you as you, read the Abundance Book and follow the 40-day prosperity plan. So, I've had some major shifts as a result of reading that book, but it's powerful.
Very powerful. Thanks so much. Cheryl A. Pullins. Talk to us.
So for me, it was Michelle Obama's book, Becoming.
Great book.
Reading someone else's journey to me was so inspiring. And it was actually the inspiration behind me going from just talking about being iconic to becoming iconic, because it is a journey. It doesn't just happen. So, if I wanted to share something with regard to that book, it's to understand that you're on a journey to becoming who it is you've been created to be, the highest vision of yourself. You're on that journey, and that's the journey you want to be present in, you want to be aware of, you want to pay attention to, so it's Becoming by Michelle Obama. That's the one.
Thanks for sharing. I love both those books. Last question, Cheryl A. Pullins, you, and then over to you, Toni Coleman Brown. But what's next for you? I mean, what's the big stretch mission or goal that you have that's out there for you? Did you care to share? I know you can't share all your secrets, but what's next for Cheryl A. Pullins?
Sure, absolutely. I'm releasing 2 books this year. So that's big. One is actually a women's devotional. And the second is a book about becoming iconic. Uh-huh. So this year I'll be releasing those 2 books before June.
Wow. Thanks so much for sharing. Toni Coleman Brown, same question. Before we give you guys opportunity to have final thoughts, what's next for you?
Well, actually, I am going to be releasing my new course, Magic Lead Generation, but also to accompany that, I'll also be releasing a free book. It's a little booklet on Lead Generation 101, 21 days to magically generate leads. And that's a book that I'm going to be giving away. I'm, almost done with it. I have most of the content ready to go, and it'll be a freebie that I plan to give out at events, conferences, put in goodie bags and things like that, because my intention is to provide value, and to become known in the marketplace for what I do best, which is generate leads.
Gosh, I'm loving it. This is so much fun. Look, we come back. We're going to close out. This is great. I mean, you guys are behind the scenes. They're in overtime. They stayed a lot longer than I anticipated, but they gave. The one thing I know about Toni Coleman Brown and Cheryl A. Pullins is that they believe, like I believe, y'all all can make more money. Every single one of you watch now, you can make more money without a question. But none of you, not one of you, can make more time. And so they've given the most precious gift they have this morning or this evening or this afternoon, no matter when you're watching it, and that is their time. So let's make sure we look below the video. Thank them for giving their time. Thanks for giving them their expertise. Thanks for giving them experience. They're not done. When they come back, I'm going to ask them to give us their final thoughts, like their comments as you get ready to go out there and get ready to really make a difference in the world. I know it's not about the money, but it's about the meaning you're all going to have. I know it's not about the income you're going to make. It's about the impact you're going to have in the world. And for most of you, you want to make $1 and a difference at the same time. So they'll share their words with you on how you can achieve your own personal vision, or the vision for your loved ones, or the vision for the people you were called to serve. I can't wait. It's one of my favorite segments. They're all my favorite segments, but this is really my favorite segments. But we'll be back. We're going to go over to myself, the one and only Shay Brown, talking about We Are the Sales Team. I'll be back in just a moment. Can't give it to myself. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. And if you're like a number of my clients right now, where you are sick and tired of talking to unqualified people who don't want to do business with you, or you're tired of tracking down people and trying to convince them and persuade them to do business with you, and you're just wasting your time, or you're just totally frustrated, and it's time for you to increase your sales, then we are the sales team that you've been looking for. You see, the number one challenge facing entrepreneurs today is either lost leads. That means they met someone opted on their page, someone signed up on their webinar, someone said they were interested, and no one could follow up with them, no one could track them down, and you had to do it all yourself. Or you spend a lot of time talking to someone, you spend a lot of time sending them information, only to find out they were unqualified. You're like, I'm sick of talking to unqualified people. So if you don't want to sell, or you hate to sell because you want to do something else with your time, something else with your labor, like spend it with those that you love the most or doing something entirely different, then I want you to pay close attention. I want you to text this number because we're going to partner with you in two ways. First, we're going to look at doing a complete sales makeover for you, okay? That's number one. And then number two, we're going to set all the qualified appointments you need without your labor so you can make sure things get done. And or we're going to have a dedicated sales team to go out and actually make the sale, get the credit card, get the contract, and bring it out. We are the sales team that you've been looking for. So it's just time for you to do a sales makeover. It's time for you to look at your whole sales process and have a structure, a system, a sequence so you can be scalable and you can really generate those sales. Here's what I want you to do for your sales makeover. Text the word makeover. Do it right now. Open up your phone right now. Text the word makeover, one word, makeover, to 202-999-3515. Let me get that to you again. Text the word makeover so you can look at your business to 202-999-3515 and just follow the instructions. So all you gotta do is follow the instructions and let's make over your business. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone, and we're gonna make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless, and I'll see you on the other side. Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country, where we're on a mission to inspire, we're on a mission to encourage, and we're on a mission to provide you with the resources necessary to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And we want to thank Cheryl Pullins. We want to thank Toni Coleman Brown for giving of all their time and all their expertise. We'll start off with Cheryl Pullins, someone I've known for many, many years. And we want to say thank you. Thank you for teaching us how to really build not only a brand, but an iconic brand in the limited amount of time we have. We got to have you back. I know you can do a whole master class on this, but it's so important for folks for where they are right now. So I'm going to let you close it out first. Give us your final thoughts. And I know you're speaking to, for both of you, it's a big thing, right? Because there are some entrepreneurs that are doing really, really well, and they've got to keep it going. And that's really hard. And there's other entrepreneurs there, has some high highs and some low lows and some high highs and some low lows. It's been like a roller coaster ride, right? So your words may help them. And others have been like myself. They've been knocked on the back, and that's happened to me in my life. And they're looking up, and they got to get up, and they got to keep going. So whatever you say is going to help anyone that's watching right now. And every one of you, hit the share button, hit the watch party button, and say, that Toni Coleman Brown and Cheryl Pullins are throwing down. You don't want to miss it. You can pay this message forward. All right, Cheryl, thanks a lot, man. We love you. Over to you for your final thoughts and comments.
Awesome. So my final thought for you is something that I'm doing for this year, and that is understanding that consistency is paramount. That consistency, staying in the game. I know you have highs, you have lows, you have ins, and you have outs. You have, oh my goodness, why me? Oh, you have all of those moments, but stay in the game. Stay consistent. Be true to the vision. Be true to the vision. You're called to a vision. So some days it's not going to be comfortable. Some days it's not going to go right. Some days it's not going to, it's going to be like, what in the world am I doing? Why am I even doing this? Because you've been called to it, and you've been called to be true to the vision. If you're true to the vision and you keep that as your waypoint, I'm telling you, it will turn out to be one of the most fulfilling things that you could do.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We appreciate that. And Toni Coleman Brown. Oh, Cheryl Pullins, tell them how they can connect with you. At the end, you got to let them know how you prefer that folks connect directly with you. I know you gave them a gift earlier, and everyone tell them, one, what the gift is so they know where to go get the gift. And then how can they personally connect with you? I don't know if it's on Instagram, Facebook. I don't know what your preference is, but please share that with everyone that's watching and listening right now. And listening. Remember, a number of folks are listening to the podcast as well.
Sure. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. The Happy Entrepreneur Show is absolutely an amazing show. I have watched a couple times. I sneak in, and I'm a night owl, and I catch it. So, Shay, you're doing an amazing job with that, for especially our night owl people. So you can go to invisible2iconic.com. That's invisible2iconic.com to get your free gift. Now, I love for people to reach out to me on Facebook, so you can messenger me on Facebook, and that's a great way to reach out to me. And also, you can follow me on Instagram. Icon of Branding on Instagram is another great way.
Thanks a lot. Again, we appreciate you. Toni Coleman Brown, just like Cheryl, but someone I've known for many years, gave me an opportunity to come all the way up to New Jersey. I remember that like it was yesterday, and so many times. So you're doing such great work, and it's good to reconnect with you. Like we've done on many times. You're one of the few folks that survived 72 hours of power. They don't even know about that. They think this is bad, baby. There was a time in my youthful days, ladies and gentlemen. There was a time. But anyway, if you will, Toni Coleman Brown, your final comments, your final thoughts, if you would, and then how can they connect with you and give them that free gift again, please?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for the community. Thanks for you, Shay Brown. The Happy Entrepreneur Show is a great show. I've enjoyed being on here with you, Cheryl. It's been great. If I can say this, I have a personal motto for myself, and that personal motto is simply that everything is possible. Now, one of the things that I've found that is the case with a lot of people, especially a lot of entrepreneurs, is they live their days and they live their lives based upon their circumstances, and they allow their circumstances to dictate how they flow. Oftentimes people say, well, I can't take this course right now because I don't have the money, or I can't go on this trip right now, I can't attend this conference because it's just not the right time. And I just want to say to people, you have to stop living based upon your circumstances, and definitely stop making decisions based upon your circumstances, and start making those decisions and start living based upon the possibilities. Because if you continue to live based upon your circumstances, you're going to continue to remain in those same circumstances. But if you start living based upon the possibilities and what is possible, then you will experience the possibilities of life. And that's what life is all about. It's about possibilities. And everything is possible. It even says in the Bible that all things are possible. And it's not just one thing. It's not just any old thing. It's all things. So I've made my motto that everything is possible. And I live based upon the possibilities. And if you do the same thing and you stop living based upon your circumstances, you will experience unlimited possibilities.
Wow, unlimited possibilities. And so they know where to get the gift, and they know how to connect with you. Make sure you give them that as well.
Yes, so you can get the gift at magicleadgeneration.com, magicleadgeneration.com. Pick up your free gift, 25 lead magnet ideas, 25 high value lead magnet ideas. And you can follow me as well on social media. You can get in contact with me. I'm on Facebook at Toni Coleman Brown. You can also get in contact with me at my website, tonicolemanbrown.com. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you both for joining. You both are amazing. And thank you, all the viewers, all of our digital note takers who are posting notes throughout the day. We really appreciate you. You're awesome. To every one of you, hit the share button. For every one of you started a watch party, we appreciate you. All of our podcast listeners that tune in, and you write me little comments. I read every single one of them. Thank you so much. For those that got value, make sure you post it on the page. You can go over to happyentrepreneurshow.com. If you're watching on one of the podcast platforms, leave a comment, share a thought, tag Cheryl A. Williams, tag Toni Coleman Brown. We appreciate you. And this, I know as we close out, I know that you're amazing. I know that you're incredible, and I know you got so much greatness inside you, and I believe for you that the best is yet to come, because today is your January 1st. You're going to get that brand right. Today is your January 1st. You're going to attract those leads. Today is your January 1st. You're going to live your dreams. You're going to make a difference in the world, and you you're going to leave a legacy. With that being said, thanks again, Toni Coleman Brown and Cheryl A. Pullins. My name, for those folks that are tuning in, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown. Those folks who just meet me, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Peace. We love you. Bye, Toni. Bye, Cheryl. We see you later. Y'all rock. We out of here. Y'all did it. Y'all made it. Isn't it incredible? I love it. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Check.
Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Damn.
Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Thank you. God bless.